What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. We're a week past free agency, a couple weeks past the draft, and there's still plenty of off season ahead of us. But right now, my top 5 teams in the NHL, in no particular order. First of all, the East. East really ain't that strong. Let's call it what it is. The two best teams in the East, record-wise, last year, are a lot weaker than they were. Looking at the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then you look at the New York Rangers, who suffered, a lot of role players moving on, and they have plenty of question marks on their roster. A team that won the East, and then you look at, the Montreal Canadiens. I think they have one of the best teams in the East, but the best team, unquestionably, is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I said it last night. Adam Proto of Hockey News wrote an article about it today, so he's watching the power play. He's one of my favorite writers, by the way, just FYI, if you want to keep a personal thing on me. But, that's the East. The West is a different story. A lot of good teams in the West, a lot of, young and talented teams. But the bottom line is there are 4 teams that can come out of the West. These are the top 4 teams in hockey, in no particular order: St. Louis, Chicago, Anaheim, Los Angeles. There are no 4 teams. There's no team. The other 26 teams. Thanks for showing up. And Tampa Bay is the 5th best team in hockey. I think they will be in the final, and I think that they do have a shot to beat any of those 4 teams, especially if the West is going to be, the West. But you look at the other teams out west. Colorado has some young talent. They're obviously an exciting team, but losing Stastny, that's a tough void to fill. And McKinnon moves to center, and then Sean McGinley's in there. I think McGinley's going to have a good year next year, but I don't think he's locked to have the productivity he had in Boston. More up-tempo system. And don't forget, McGinley's a year old. I think that's one thing. And the Avalanche centers are a little bit different than the Boston centers. David Krejci loves to slow the pace of the game down. And that really bodes well for someone like Ginla, who's not as fast as he used to be, and could get to open areas in the ice more easily, knowing that you have a guy like that's going to hold the puck, and then get it to you. That's one thing to keep an eye on. But you got to look at the big picture here in terms of the Western Conference. Minnesota is probably the 5th best team out west. I mean, could they, if they address your goaltending, make some improvements on defense, could they, make a run in the playoffs? Yeah. I mean, they beat Colorado last year, and then they add Vanek, and, they replaced Vanek. They replaced Molson with Vanek, and I think Vanek's not great. Vanek wants to be there. He's wanted to be there for a while. And then, I'd say them in Dallas for the 5, 6, in whatever order. I want to see Carey Lightning be healthy. I want to see Dallas make some improvements on defense, but, I think that's a possibility. They could be the 5 seed. I don't think Dallas is better than any of the big 4, but at the same time, they have loads of offensive skill, so we'll see what happens there. And then, so what do we got for Western Conference playoff teams? We got the LA, Anaheim, St. Louis, Chicago, Minnesota, Colorado, and Dallas. So Dallas being the 5 seed, not the 7 seed. There's one other opening. Who takes that spot is it San Jose with the rebuild that they're allegedly going through? I don't know. I guess you put San Jose there for now. It's kind of like a placeholder. Nashville's made some moves. They didn't make the improvements they wanted to make, but they're a better team than they were last year. Vancouver isn't going to sniff the playoffs, and I got pretty much eviscerated doing that piece, but I don't give a shit. That's the bottom line. They're not, the West is as good as it's ever been. Vancouver's in the East. Could they be in the conference final? Yeah, why not? But this is a wild, wild West, and I think those big 4 teams with Dallas, Minnesota, and Colorado laying in the weeds, so to speak, kind of out there, but they're there. Don't forget about them. Goes to show you just how good the Western Conference is. But, we'll see. Got to play the games. But, again, I think the top 4 teams in hockey play out west and are the Anaheim Ducks, LA Kings, St. Louis Blues, and Chicago Blackhawks. And, again, no particular order. With the goaltending, with, everything else that has to happen, I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd say St. Louis is the number 1 team. But you can talk me into any of those teams. Actually, I know LA won't be the number 1 seed next year because they don't like to do that. They like to kind of have inconsistent regular seasons and turn it on when it matters. It's worked for them. Can't complain. But anyway, that's talking this episode of the Power Play with CJ on just how good the Western Conference is. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the offseason and beyond. Later, guys.